Now, one of the things that Francois mentioned was ticketing and how that is important to the railway of tomorrow. And to zoom in a little bit on that now, I'd like to introduce, he's a local boy actually, because he comes from Slovenia, but he works in Brussels. And Blaž Blaž, I'll let you say your name because you can say it far better than I can. You live with it. Blaž is from the CER, the Community of European Railway and Infrastructure Managers, and he will be telling us a little bit about European railway ticketing and how that's all going to evolve by 2030. Blaž, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Simon. My name is Blaž Pongračič, for the record. But it's fine, even Slovenians have problems with my surname. Hello, everyone. As Simon said, I work for CER, the Community of European Railways. We recently had a General Assembly where we adopted our position paper for ticketing. We're calling it a ticketing roadmap. And I just wanted to present basically the CER vision for ticketing by 2030. Why did we decide for this vision? Why now? And basically how we hope to implement it or to convince the Commission that we want to implement it. So we will start basically what is the vision for ticketing. So the roadmap, how do we achieve this, this vision? And we divided our actions on two horizons, so 2025 and 2030. And if there's time, because I know time is short and always precious, we'll maybe just see, as railways are not in a vacuum, neither legislatively, not financially, a bit what we also expect from the interlocutors in Brussels and national governments, I guess. So the vision of railway ticketing by 2030 is basically having a seamless experience for our customers, for our passengers. I don't know if you remember, Commissioner said that railway should take cues, should take some inspiration for the aviation. Of course, our view is always aviation is not railway and railway is not aviation. As far as I know, commuter air still doesn't exist. But still, we do understand where this notion comes from, and we do understand that if we won't, as railway, do anything about it, Commission will try to do it for us. So our perspective here is that we need to have a concrete plan in order to convince the other side that we know what we want to do, and we know that we can't solve their problems, because if you listen to Commission often on railways, they would think that ticketing will solve all our problems, it will achieve modal shift. Of course, we don't think that's true, but it's definitely a part of it. So the legal framework from the Commission, of course, starts with the EU Green Deal, the biggest, basically, political orientation of the current Commission, led by Ursula von der Leyen. As transport causes around a quarter of all the greenhouse gas emissions in transport, that means that decarbonizing transport is one of the main things to do, meaning decarbonizing the most polluting modes, but also achieving the modal shift. As you know, the European Union has basically a very clean form of transport, which is rail. So try to also convince them to support us. So from the EU Green Deal comes the Smart and Sustainable Mobility Strategy that was presented by Commissioner for Transport 9th of December last year. And there, among other things, there's a long action plan. One of them is to achieve multimodal ticketing by 2030. So that's a concrete goal that they now have to achieve. By they, I mean DG Move, and together with the national governments and the European Parliament. One of the main tools, one of the main vehicles to do this is an ITS directive. I don't know how many you're familiar with this. It's mostly for road, but there's one delegated regulation inside called the MMTIS. That is the delegated regulation that forced railway and other modes to share certain data, like static data. And it had also dynamic data according to a country. Each country could opt in or opt out. So let's say the French opted in, so they share dynamic data, while the Germans, for example, no. And the revision comes next year, meaning that, for example, for sure, dynamic data will now be obligatory to share by every EU member. They are looking into standardizing data. They're looking into increasing the quality and so forth and so forth. They also announced a new legislative initiative, which will be called Multimodal Digital Services. So this is basically the main driver with which they want to achieve multimodal ticketing by 2030. So this is all happening next year. So in response to all of this, CR has prepared a rather long position paper of how we envision this multimodal ticketing and how we envision railways side in it, of course also with the help from UIC. We break down the journey of the passenger on six stages, let's say: preparation, booking, being in the train, being checked, and so forth and so forth. Of course, a snap picture of the current railway ticketing shows that we have a very complex proprietary system, a lot of bilateral solutions. So we need to, of course, this makes EU-wide ticketing kind of complex and hard to achieve, which many can tell you. So, I mean, on one side, we're not saying that the railways are doing everything wrong or bad. We're just saying we probably might need to do it better. So we need to simplify and adopt multilateral approaches. We know this is a very ambitious plan, and we know, but we also think it's not unrealistic. Of course, it also depends on the other side, meaning the Commission, how they will also listen to this and see if that plan is also working from them. Because the signals, again, the Commissioner said, and you can also hear other directors will tell you that they are impatiently waiting for sector to deliver. So that's basically what we need to do. That's why we divided the actions on two horizons, by 2025 and by 2030. By 2025, because we need quite quick actions. This Commission also, the term runs out in 2024, is the end of the mandate, so we needed, again, a realistic time frame, but yet something that also combines with the Commission's legislative term. So that's why it's 8 actions at the beginning, and then between 2025 and 2030, it is basically, we're talking about multimodality. Now, just quickly, because I know time is short, what are the actions, especially by 2025? So, one is more up-to-date timetables. So when preparing for a journey, the information is key. So we need to provide our passengers with correct and data on demand that basically makes sense. Of course, here we have merits, is how we want to achieve this. Then we need to achieve that you are being able to buy the ticket more than 1 month, 2 months in advance. So that's why we said we're going to try to achieve at least 6 months of booking horizon and up to 12 months. It's a very ambitious, we know, but this we believe is one of the important pillars to also compete with aviation. Then when we come to booking and buying a ticket, we need to have more up-to-date tariff exchange, which enables through ticketing. Through ticketing is something that we are constantly being criticized, and many think this is the key also for enabling EU-wide railway ticketing. So of course, the how to do it is through OSDM offline, which is fixed tariff. Of course, you also have to have APIs. So it's basically that you're able to buy the ticket wherever and whenever you want. So either website, apps, or going straight to the railway station and buying the ticket. And the tool here, again, is an OSDM online. Another action is increased harmonization of ticketing conditions. We have a big, complex system divided on 27 member states, well, 25 since 2 don't have railways. But still, a child in Italy is differently defined than, for example, in, I think, like, let's say, Germany. So this creates a bit of a problem when you try to buy tickets, let's say, for family. The customer doesn't really understand why there's a cheaper ticket if one travels from Germany to Italy, why there's a cheaper ticket there and then one more expensive there. So it's also, this is with the cooperation with ticket vendors. It's one of their, I won't say demands, but definitely a wish, since this makes buying tickets easier, and also passengers understand it more widely. Again, this is also one of a very tough thing to do, since sometimes these kind of things are also written in the national legislation. So this is, again, a very ambitious plan, but still, I think we think it's at least worth a try. Then, of course, we have full digitalization of ticket. Of course, that doesn't mean that the ticket is online, but just that it can be digitally checked. So whenever in European Union you will be with a ticket, this can be checked. Of course, and then real-time information during the travel, another very important thing. In long-term, let's say, a railway journey, if in the first 50 kilometers is a problem, then the other, let's say, 500 are even a bigger problem. So we need real-time information in order to anticipate this for the passenger and then offer better support if this does come to pass. So that our passenger will always be sure that even if something does go wrong, he will be taken care of one way or the other. So this is by 2025. Time is short, so I will be now very brief. Time span between 2025 and 2030 focuses pretty much on multimodality. So as we said, the goal of the Commission is multimodality by 2030. So we need our say in this and show that we can be an integral part of multimodality, and one could say that we can be the backbone of multimodality. Just quickly, at the end, we have a couple of requests, of course, as well, as we don't live in the vacuum. OSDM is one of the big enablers for EU-wide ticketing. So we would really require, especially due to the COVID crisis, some financial help with implementing it. And also, if it becomes a standard, that also helps us by achieving it. And of course, in the end, even if we make the best of all ticketing systems in the world that can rival the aviation and every other, if the polluting modes of transport will be allowed to cause negative externalities at will and nobody will pay for them, and railways will still be more expensive, then no ticketing will help. So we need, besides digitalization, we also need to understand that lower polluting modes of transport should be rewarded, not penalized for it. So, thank you very much. I hope I was brief enough. I was told I should be fast.
Well, wow. Thank you very much for being quite so on time. Excellent. Thank you very much.